Welcome to the Alchemy Experience podcast, where transformation isn't just talked about, it's lived. I'm Erin, and around here, we're turning breakdowns into breakthroughs, pain into power, and survival into serious thriving. Whether I'm flying solo or vibing with a badass guest, we dive into all the things on health, creating beautiful relationships, and building wealth. We're keeping it real, raw, and ridiculously empowering. It gets a little juicy, a little bit wild, and super inspiring. This isn't just another podcast, it's your permission slip to evolve loud, proud, and on purpose. Let's go light the world on fire. So, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Alchemy Experience podcast. I'm your host, Erin, as y'all know, unless you're brand new to the show, welcome. And I have an amazing guest today, my girl, Mary, who I have had the privilege of speaking on a stage together now at Warrior Women Bomb Global. So much fun. You are a powerhouse and underestimate yourself so
Oh.
much in what you do. And before I hand it over, I'm just going to let my world know that you are doing amazing things in this world in your corner of the universe. And you are a marketing strategist and
Mhm.
CEO owner of, I want to get it right, Maxima Marketing Strategies.
Yeah.
And you also have been a coach for a really long time in the fitness field and
Mm.
support people on their running journey, but that has transformed into helping others market themselves as well. And so
Mhm.
that's how that transformed. I'm so excited to hear that story and that journey. So that is in a snippet who you are, but you are so much more. And I see what you're doing on the interwebs. And
Mm.
Mary and I met, I swear I've been saying this so many times, but I always have to give credit where credit is due through our boy Jesse Cruz
Yeah.
and Desiree. So we met through speaking engagements and really growing our own businesses and supporting each other and rooting on each other in this wild world of women entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And I'm just so grateful that I got to meet you and hear
Oh.
what you do. So I would love for you to introduce yourself a little bit more than I'm able to and share with my side of the world what you do, who you are, so that they can start following you and get to know you and what you do.
hmm All right. Wow, I'm super excited. When I saw you at a podcast, I was like, how do we do this?
Like, can I be on?
Can
Yes.
I be on? Yes. For sure. Yeah, so I mean, as you mentioned, I am a business owner. I own my own marketing agency, which I never thought that I would be there. Like, if you talked to me 5 years ago, owning my own business, being an entrepreneur would not have been anywhere of my in my future plans. Um, and I was working for marketing at another company for another employer, and I had gotten like talking to one of my neighbors one day and they had mentioned that they were going to start like their own construction company and how they were going to leave like what they were doing and all this stuff. And I just remembered saying to them like, oh, if you need help with marketing or anything like that, like let me know. That's what I do for a living. And they were like, oh yeah, like that's great. And then and I like went back home and I was like, hmm, wait a minute. I could probably help a lot of businesses with
Yes.
their marketing. And that's kind of like the where the seed like was planted. And at the time, the company I was working for, I had great managers and great supervisors, and the VP of our marketing department. I don't remember the whole conversation, but I think it was when I was discussing going back for like my MBA and all that, and he said to me that he felt I had an entrepreneurial mindset.
Mm.
And so it was like that combined with what had just happened like between my neighbor and I was like, okay, like an idea is brewing.
Ah, the seed was planted.
Yeah, something's happening here.
Love it.
And then I probably spent the next like 6 months just like putting together like the business, like what the name would be, what I would do. And wanted to do it all correctly from the start. So I wanted to get it, like the LLC. And then I worked with a designer to help me with the website, the logo, all of that great stuff. And then I launched it with the idea of it just being a, cute little side gig. Because in my mind still, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna climb the corporate ranks, like it's gonna be fine. And I'll just have this on the side.
Yep.
And then
How it always goes.
of course. And this was probably like October of 22. And then January of 23, I was laid off from a
Mm,
job that I had. And so I was like, okay. And I was applying to other jobs and I was like going through, like unemployment and all of that stuff. And then at one point, someone that I had met through a networking event, like, months before, reached out to me and said, "Hey, I have this client that needs help with his social media. Like that's what you do that, right? And that what you do? And can I could put you in touch?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course, sure."
mhm.
And so that was client number one. And a couple months later, client number two came around, and I was like, "Okay, now I have a real decision to make. Do I continue to apply for jobs that I'm not getting?" Like it was, and to be employed at that unemployed at that time was like, you were in good company because all of us were like unemployed at that time.
Yeah.
And so jobs were hard to get. And so it was like, do I continue to do that? Or do I take all of that effort and put it into my company
Hmm.
and just full steam ahead, all in, both feet. And I decided to go with the latter.
I love it.
And yeah, and it was a very like scary like thing to do because I was like, okay, this could be the biggest failure of my life. This could be this I don't know, it could be in over my head. What if client number three never comes around or four or five or so, and it was just like, okay, I'm going into uncharted waters.
Hmm.
And I'm one of the only people in my immediate family definitely who owns a business and who, is their own CEO, their own boss. I have an uncle who owns a furniture store and he's the closest to being an entrepreneur in the family that we have. And so it's like kind of just me. So it's like, I didn't have like, hey, mom, dad, your business, like nothing, nothing like that. Just my fancy business degree and my marketing degree and just like, okay, let's do this. So I was like quite scared to do that. But there is no going back, Erin. There's no going back.
Yeah.
No going back.
It's wild, right? Is as you're explaining this, I feel like it's a unique story, right? Because
Mhm.
there's so many unique pieces to you as this whole one individual, but
Mhm.
it's the same story that I've
Mhm.
heard so many times, including me,
Yeah.
right? I remember myself when I worked as a manager supervising a group of social workers in a clinic hospital arena,
Mhm.
if you will, organization, and inside the hospital and out. Like I did various different things, and I remember, but years ago, I was still working for a different organization doing social work, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll start this private practice,
Mhm.
and it'll be a second career. I thought to myself, I'll work in this for 25,
Mhm.
30 years. I'll retire, and then
Mhm.
like once I retire, I'll do that for like
Then
another
I'll do.
handful of
Yeah.
years, right? Because I'm like,
Mhm.
maybe I'll retire at like 55, and then I'll have another 10 years while I'll do this thing. Like I had it all planned
Yeah.
planned. The universe laughed.
Mhm.
And so many things happened throughout that time that looking back now, it was the universe being like, get the flip out,
Oh yeah.
go do this, but I
Mhm.
don't listen because I think we're so programmed, especially if we don't have entrepreneurs in our family that we've seen come
Yeah.
through the trenches of the ups and downs of being an entrepreneur. Like it's all beautiful,
Hmm.
but there are struggles, right? And there's imposter
Yeah.
syndrome and fears and money and all of these things that kind of come through. And
Hmm.
I've shared my story with you and you know parts of it, but there was a couple specific things that happened in my kind of journey, if you will. And finally this aha moment of like, oh, I'm not supposed to wait.
Hmm.
I'm supposed to actually do this now. And so that was for you,
Yeah.
right? Like the
Hmm.
catalyst for you was being laid off. If you were never laid off,
Yeah.
you'd still be there, maybe
Yeah.
growing this on the side, right? But as soon as there was a hurdle or a roadblock,
Hmm.
instead of creating a detour for yourself, you would have been like, oh, I have this thing over here. I'm just going to do
Hmm.
it. Right? So for you, that was
Yeah.
the catalyst. So I'd love to hear your unique part of that and sharing with our peeps, um, what you went through in that sort of just the thought process. Because I think as entrepreneurs, there's a lot of people that listen to this and that I either collaborate with or work with that want to grow a business, want to start a business, or have a business, but they might also be working in corporate world, right? So,
Hmm.
um, what were some of the thoughts that you had to kind of work with, and how did you kind of get through that? What were the things that helped you jump over those hurdles?
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned like the imposter syndrome, and there was always a time in the beginning where I thought, am I even good enough at, okay, have a business in marketing. Am I even good enough at marketing to have a business in it that I can ask people to give me their money to do it?
Mm.
And there was just this part of me that was like, am I good enough for that? And I would, I would replay like previous jobs in my head and previous like supervisors and managers that I had that were like, no, you like, would give me accolades over this or that, or, again, like that VP was like, you have an entrepreneurial mindset and, okay, you have a branding mindset too. Like you're good at this. Like you have a skill here. Um, and I could look back and see previous work that I did with those companies and like the difference that that made, right? And
Yeah.
so your own work, like you kind of have to look back at what you've already done and been like, okay, I can do this because I've done this. And it's not like it's not like I decided to have a business in like HR that I know nothing, that I know
Right.
nothing
Right.
about, right? It's like, no, I'm staying in this lane. Like I studied this. I went to school for this.
Mhm.
I'm passionate about this. I love marketing. I could talk all day about it. And so that I had to like remind myself, like, okay, you've been doing this though. Like you can have a business in this because you've been doing it for the last however many years. So it's like reminding yourself that, okay, yes, no, I can do this because I've been doing it. I know how to do it.
Mhm.
And then people just, you know, in your corner is always something. It's like building that support network
Yes.
and finding out who those people are, and I remember at one point I was like calling, I think I was talking to my dad and I was like, I was so upset because I still hadn't found a job and I still hadn't done, and I was teetering on, do I even keep pursuing this? Because I had only had like the one client at the time. And I remember he had said to me, he was like, just stop. Like, just stop, focus on maxima, focus on that,
Mm.
like focus on building that. And I was like, okay, okay,
Oh,
like I needed my dad to be like, that's what you like, that that's what you need to do, that's what you want to do, you have the time now to do it, so do it.
yeah.
um Yeah. So having someone like in your corner and people in your corner who are, supportive, and they're like, this is a great idea. Like you're good at what you do, go for it. And just kind of, like helping you along the way, who when you have that imposter syndrome, those thoughts kind of creep in. Those are the people that are going to be like, stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop. It's
And
not true. Like
sometimes
get out
it's
of your head.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not family, right? I think that's
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
like lucky for you, you had a parent that you
Hmm.
trusted and that you could go to, and you valued, right?
Hmm.
The weight of their voice was so significant for you that it
Yeah.
it almost soothed your nervous system, right? Um,
Hmm.
where I know my parents are amazing and they will root for me and scream from the rooftops of like,
Yeah.
yeah, girl, go, we love you, right? But also,
Not everybody has that.
correct, but also
Hmm.
they are not entrepreneurs. And
Right. That's true too.
I think there were times when I was doing things that they were like, she's a little crazy, right?
Oh yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
they grew up in an era of like stay at the same job for
Hmm.
30 years, get a pension, right? They grew up in that
Yes.
era.
Yeah.
And as much as that is beautiful, that's not what I was built for.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
they have graciously watched me, like fall and push me back up, right?
Mhm.
But I'm so grateful for that. But also there were
Yeah.
times where I think they did question, like, what is she doing? And not to
Hmm.
their fault. I think they just
It's just, yeah, because
they
it's
didn't
so,
understand it.
it's like a foreign concept to them because I'm putting us in the same generation.
Yeah, yeah.
We are. And like our
I'm a little
parents,
older, but I'll give it to you.
it's okay. Like our parents are from that generation where it's like you didn't really even have to like what you were doing. Like
Yes.
the point was just to go and get a job that gave you enough money to have a house and support your family and put your kids through college and that sort of thing. And they also were the generation where there was no boss texting them at 2 a.m. to do something, and God forbid you were sleeping and you didn't respond.
Right,
Like they weren't part of that generation where it's just 24/7.
right.
And so the idea of like leaving a very secure job, employer sponsored health benefits and all of that stuff, right? Like I think that was one of the things that like my parents didn't think about either was, when I told them that, hey, I got to get a financial advisor because I got to figure out what I'm going to do now with like, retirement and
Yeah,
this and that. And they were like, huh? And I was like, no, no, yeah, I don't have a paycheck every week, every 2 weeks where I
yeah,
can put money aside and
yeah.
like health insurance comes fully out of the bank account or on so it's like that's no, I'm fully doing that. And I don't think that those were things that they like anticipated or thought of. And it was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
That's what you do as an entrepreneur. Like you don't have a choice now. And so I
There's
think
so
it's
many
true. Like,
layers. Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah.
you don't think about because if you were just, chugging along, going to work in that generation and then coming home and then that was it, it was like nothing else really existed.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. There's so many layers, to the point of surround yourself with the right people, I think it has taken me a really long time, not
Hmm.
just personally, but also professionally, right? Where,
Yeah.
especially in the social work field, right? The pay isn't, I think it's a lie and it's a completely like made up thing, but we are meant to believe when
Hmm.
you're in undergrad that like, oh, you're doing this for the passion and service. You're not doing this for a paycheck, right? We are meant,
Hmm.
it is like beaten into us that you cannot serve and get paid well. It was
Yeah.
like I had to really reroute that thought in my brain, right? Of like, wait a minute,
Hmm.
I can serve at the highest and be massively compensated. Like, why can't I have both?
Yeah.
And so that was a huge shift, but I had to surround myself with people that thought that too.
Hmm.
Because when I was surrounding myself with other social workers, it was constant burnout, constant draining, constant just
Yeah.
grinding, right? It was
Hmm.
constant. And we were all just like bitching and complaining all the time because
Hmm.
it is hard out in these streets, right? Like it's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard to be a social worker and pour your life
Yeah.
into people and things that like don't change, right? So
Hmm.
it's this like loop of burnout.
Yeah.
So I had to change that thought process of like, wait a minute, this doesn't have to be my life. And I think you had
Hmm.
that moment too, right? Of like, wait a minute, I don't have to go back to this. This
Yeah.
is the old pattern. How do I
Hmm.
interrupt it? And so
Yeah.
surrounding yourself with people is huge. And I just do like to remind people it doesn't have to be family
Yeah.
or
It
friends.
doesn't.
It can be you, it can be me. So if you're listening to this right
Hmm.
now, whether it's the day it comes out or in 2 years from now, right? That you hear this and you're like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I need to change my circle. Like follow
Hmm.
Mary, follow me, see what we're
Yeah.
doing. Come check us out on our social media and say, okay, I need to be in these circles of people that are breathing life into themselves and to other
Hmm.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it too. Sometimes you don't even really need to like know the person. Like, I mean, for me too, work is keeps me on social media all the time, but also just, we're always inundated with it. And a lot of times I have to go through like who I'm following
Yes.
because it's like sometimes I just start to see the algorithm or posts just start to get a little bit like doomsday and toxic. And it's like, okay, I need to redo something here. And I go through like
Celebrate.
who I'm
Yep.
following. Yeah. And like maybe get rid of some, maybe start, following some cute like dog accounts just to mix it up, put some joy in there.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, it's like follow, or like following more female entrepreneurs or just entrepreneurs in general who have gone through what I've gone through, who have gone through what I'm going to eventually go through, right? Because the struggle does not end necessarily. There's just, that's life. Yeah. And so it's kind of like surrounding yourself in the social media world too with the right groups and the right people and the right mindset.
Yes, yes. And evolution is a thing, right? So
Mm.
I think that's such a beautiful reminder. So share with, you know, my peeps kind of how this, running coach turned into, okay, I have this skill set to be able to, like, you have, you were doing an entrepreneur thing,
Hmm.
right? You were helping people grow in their personal fitness and strength and stamina and all of that. So you're like, okay, wait,
Yeah.
I have this skill and knowledge of marketing,
Yeah.
and I have this like natural ability to connect with people and
Mhm.
help them better themselves. Like, oh, like how does that come together, right? So, share sort of what exactly you do now? Like, how do you
Yeah.
provide your service and how
Yeah.
that's evolved into, from where you were to where you are now?
Mhm. So I will say I didn't even recognize the skill that I had of like connecting with people. Like that was something that just kind of like I found out that I was good at through fitness actually. So I was doing, I was doing my marketing and my agency and I was all in and I did which half marathon was it? I believe it was Jersey City. And I had this great PR and I was so happy and I was on cloud nine and I had the best like training cycle leading up to it. And I thought, well, I seed planted again. And I was like, I could do that. The training plan that I did for myself that worked, I could do that for other people so that they can reach their goals as well.
Hmm.
And so that's where Coach Casey Running was born, and I got my run coaching certificate, and that's where it started. It started where it was just going to be running, and I had gotten that certificate, and I had posted about it, and I was so proud. I was like, "Hey, who
Yes.
wants to run their next marathon?" And then, actually, one of my instructors, fitness instructors that I went to, she had responded to that and was like, "Hey, did you want to work at this gym that she also works at?" She's like, they're looking for instructors. And I was like, sure. That sounds cool.
I can do
And I
that.
just like I did, yeah, I'm like, yeah. I had no idea, like, oh, okay, group fitness, putting on a mic,
Yeah.
being in the center of the room, doing all that. That was not even where I thought it was gonna go.
Wild, right?
Yeah. And I did some demo classes and I just kept like trying to improve. And that was one of that, and that was something where like I will say I valued and wanted a lot of feedback because that was something that I had never done before,
Mhm.
ever. And what I was being, kind of told with some good feedback was also that like I kind of had a little bit of like a knack for it, like the potential to be really, really good as a fitness instructor was there.
Yeah.
And just like, little things here and there to consistently improve on. And then here I am like a year later, and then I'm at like two gyms and I'm doing like two group fitness class, things.
Yeah.
And that's where I realized the connection piece because one of the coworkers at this other gym had said to me there were only three instructors working there, two other guys and me, so I was the only female instructor, which yeah. um
Yeah.
and she was explaining to me one day like how she had to explain to a client that came in the different instructors and how they are. And she's like, and I explained you as a more like nurturing coach. Like you're motivating you're inspiring them to be better, you're going to give them the heavier weights if they need it, or if they can handle it, but you're going to do it in a more nurturing way. You're not going to be screaming in their face. You're not going to be, like pushing them to the max all the time. Like, she's like, you're more of a nurturing coach. And I didn't really know like how I didn't know if that's the kind of coach that I wanted to be. I didn't know what kind of coach I wanted to be.
Mhm.
And then the connection part came in because it was like that was something that I didn't realize until I left that gym how much that helped me connect with people.
Mm,
And my last day, I had one of the women that I was, coaching that whole time had come up to me and she was crying and she was like visibly upset and she told me, she was like, I just want you to know that I was going to quit. She was like, I walked in here. I didn't think I belonged here. I was going to quit. And like, you changed that. And
mm.
I was like, in that moment, I was like, okay, I like to be the nurturing coach. I like to be
Yeah.
the nurture. That's the coach I want to be because this, like what she's saying to me
Is that,
is everything.
yeah,
Everything because I always wanted to be that inclusive coach. I always wanted to be the motivating one and I love to, celebrate everyone, when they're like, "Hey, I ran a mile and it was this time," and they're like beating themselves down because like they think it's a slow time and I want to be the coach that's right there like you ran a mile. You haven't run in how long and you ran a mile and like that's amazing. Like think of like you should be so proud of yourself. Like I want to be the uplifting,
yeah,
motivating coach in that way. And it was there that I kind of realized like, okay, as a fitness instructor, you have the ability to connect with people in a way that not a lot of others do because fitness is so personal
yes.
and it's a very personal thing and it can be very emotional too.
Mhm.
And so you as the fitness instructor are kind of in the heart of it and you're helping those people with their goals and getting through it and you're a part of that personal experience with them.
Yeah. It's so amazing. As you're sitting here, I'm just like inspired and in awe over that because, you know, as a coach, as a consultant, right? Like I've had people come to me and be, I have somebody that I coached for 3 sessions and it literally her whole business has changed and she's like crazy blossoming, right? In just those few
Hmm.
sessions. And she's just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like it just unlocked something. And what I feel like is we have codes that we've unlocked for ourselves that we can like help other people unlock.
Hmm. Yeah.
Right. And you do that in way of fitness and you do that in way of seeing somebody that has a business or has a company that wants to share that with the world and you can see
Hmm.
it and how to make that come to life, right? You
Yeah.
can help them evolve that. And just like you do with somebody who has given up on themselves for so long in their fitness, you can breathe life into them just like you can in a company.
Hmm.
So it
Yeah.
makes sense that it's crossover,
Yeah. It's
you
like I
know?
didn't see the connection originally.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then over time it was like, no, actually that the marketing helps in this, the skills there help here, and the skills in fitness help in marketing. And I feel like both sides have benefited from, the experiences that I've
100%.
had on both ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
Crazy.
So how that's transitioned then, obviously you're still doing both, but it sounds
Hmm.
like the marketing and being a strategist of that, you have clients, did they do you walk us through your process in that. So if there's business owners or aspiring business owners that are like, or people that, maybe have written a book or have done a project or something that they want to share, even if it's not
Hmm.
business oriented, but they want to share through a marketing strategy, like how does one work with you in that way? Do you have
Hmm.
packages? Do you have tiers? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I like to do tiers.
Mhm.
And that's something on the newer side because I found that just works better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean my process is always I meet with the business owner or the author, whoever it is, first, and I want to get an idea for their business. I want to get an idea for what they need and what they're looking for. Always if there's a particular budget, that's the time to let me know.
Yeah.
And then from there, I kind of look at the services that I offer and I do it per service. So it's like, okay, if we're doing social media, here's like the tiers. in
Oh,
social media. If we want to do
brilliant.
email, yeah. Yeah, if we want to do email, here's the tier, within email and web content, here's that, right? And content, just like, web content is usually like this is per page per, whatever. So that there's not so much tier there, but there's more tiers with like email and marketing, which I feel like is the two heaviest that, or social media and marketing and email are the two that I do the most with
Yeah.
most of my clients. But yeah, so I decided to, tier it where it's like, tier one is like would be the least expensive and it's kind of like a one and done, like here's the strategy.
Hmm.
And then you can, if you have the ability to execute on the strategy, by all, that would be like the one for you. You just kind of need like a blueprint, to go by. And then from there, things start to add to it. So the highest tier would be full on, of course, the strategy, full on content creation, execution, social media management. It's the whole shebang. And then I have tiers kind of like in between. And
Beautiful.
yeah, and the way that I've built it is if somebody needs a little bit of this and a little bit of that and in two different tiers, like it can still kind of work. So I built it so it can be more customized too for what the specific client needs. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, because there are companies that do this kind of thing, right? But there's not a personal touch and a personal, like, I
Hmm.
just need this. Like, I can
Yeah.
do this part, but I'm really struggling with this. Or there might be people like myself who's like, I'm really great at all of it, right? Like, I've learned it. I have a knack for it. I love doing it. Like, I could stay up till 2 a.m.
Hmm.
creating and doing, which I have done in the past, my website
Yep.
and stuff like that, because like, I get energy from creation, and so
Hmm.
I love it. But there is a part of me that's like, I also have 17 million other things. And so offloading some of that has been
Yeah.
a blessing and something that I have done. Um,
Hmm.
and like if that frees me up over here and I'm paying somebody else to do stuff,
Hmm.
right? Like I'm supporting another business and I
And
get
helping
to free
yourself.
up
Yeah.
to do other things, right? So I
Hmm.
think it's an important thing to point out for folks that are listening is that don't be afraid to offload um,
Hmm.
some of these things, and if it's an a la carte kind of thing, some of these bigger companies might not have that, but you do. And
Yeah.
so you have the capability to strategize with somebody and be real with them and say, no, you don't need all of this. You just
Hmm.
need this.
You just need this. Yeah.
I will help you with that. And then we can see if that fixes the other problems, right? So you have
Hmm.
this ability to sort of sit and strategize with somebody where not some of these other companies or individuals running a business like this have. So,
Yeah. And that the whole restructuring of like how I did my services too came out of a conversation when I was doing a proposal for a nonprofit.
mhm,
And, nonprofits have a very small budget.
yeah.
And they came back to me and they were like, this is all we got. This is all we've been approved for. And so I had to kind of readjust and take a step back and be like, okay, how can I take that budget and provide them something of value towards the goal that they have,
Mhm.
while also not just me being like, here's everything for just less money.
Correct. Correct.
Right?
Because you don't want to undervalue yourself or
Overload.
integrity, right? Like that's
Yeah,
too if you have another client paying you more, right? Like you want to remain in integrity, which is
exactly.
important. Hmm.
Yeah. And so that's how the idea of like a tiered system came to be, where I was like, you know what, I think this makes a lot more sense because now I can basically give like three tiers to somebody and say like here's the lowest, here's the highest, here's a nice little middle, and then if you need the middle but like a little piece of the highest one, I can work a cost out for that. And so it's like that kind of came out of a need for another, potential client, that it was like, oh, maybe I should be doing this a little differently.
Amazing. I love
Yeah.
it. So for my peeps that are kind of sitting here that in either arena, if they're like
Hmm.
really want to get back into running, because I'm sitting in this too, and I'm like, maybe I'll hire Mary to help me run a marathon. I don't know that I'll ever run a full. I've run two halves. Maybe I want to run another half,
Never say never.
but I never say so. I say I don't know. That's like,
Hmm.
but if you're like me, that's like, how do I want to mix up my fitness to try to, see what I want to do in the running game?
Hmm.
They can reach out to you. And then if there's
Yeah.
somebody looking for something either specific or they just want to sit with you and have a consult to see what they, might need
Hmm.
as far as a business strategy in way of marketing, what's the best way to get in contact with you? Where do you
Yeah.
hang out the most?
I hang out the most on Instagram. That is true. The millennial in me hangs out on Instagram.
And is it
And
just your name, or would you suggest them going to the Maxima marketing strategies? Which one would you prefer?
yeah, I would think if it's marketing that you need, I would go directly to the Maxima one. And then if it's run coaching that you need, you can go to just me, or I do have a run coaching one. But I blend that with my personal all the time. So yeah, personal is fine for that.
So find you on Mary Casey would be the best way to start, and then they can go into.
Yeah. Yeah, everything's linked in that bio too. So when they go to like my personal one, it's like, oh, there's the marketing, there's the run coaching. It's all neatly placed there for you.
Yes, perfect. And it is. I'm looking at it now just so
It is.
I sure. But I'm looking at it like, which one do I want to look at right now?
I know.
I
See,
follow
you can
all of
follow me
them.
on
So,
all. Yeah. You'll get a
so
little bit of something different on each one. Yeah.
yeah, which I love. Perfect. And then if they wanted to reach out to you directly just to connect and ask
Mhm.
questions, just reach out through messaging on there. Is that the best way?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
email or
they can do that. Yeah, that can start there, and then I'll usually from there we'd move the conversation over to like a chat or some video chat or something. But yeah, you can start there, and it's kind of the easiest, just one place for everybody to go.
amazing. And I will put
Mhm.
in the show notes how to find you. I will put all of
Cool.
these links so people can just click on it and get to
Clicked.
you. I also will probably put an email or whatever another way just in case somebody isn't hanging out on
Oh
Insta.
yeah, yeah. You could definitely give me an email.
Yeah, so that they can shoot you a message and say, "Hey, I want to learn more," right? So
Hmm.
that way we give people options, but that's beautiful. So thank you. This has been awesome. I think there's so much value in what you're doing for people in general, but I think just your spirit and your energy is like just uh, following you and seeing your stuff is just
Yeah.
cool. Right. Whenever I see your stuff, like
Aw.
sometimes it's funny. Like I think you and I are similar. Like we have like a
Yeah.
funny humor where we'll post something just like ridiculously
Hmm.
funny. And then the next post is like so heartfelt. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of emotions going on sometimes. And it's
yeah,
like the best part is when it's like one story after another and it's like, okay, we can see where Mary's mind has been in the last 3 hours because it's like funny dog meme, heartfelt video, and then and then it's like follow me for marketing tips. It's
yeah.
like
But it's great because they're getting we get the
getting every bit of me.
you. Yeah.
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 All the facets, all the bells and whistles, yeah,
Which
everything.
I think that's what is attractive as a business owner and just as a human, right? I want to
Hmm.
be in your world because you are real and you're
Yeah.
not like so rigid and stuffy around
Hmm.
this is just business. And you're not just like, wait, is
Yeah.
this a business? Right? Like you
Hmm.
see all sides of you, which is
Yeah.
cool. So thank you for
And
sharing all that.
yeah, that's actually something I'll just touch on real quick is like keeping yourself in the business. Like when I first opened up my Instagram for my marketing agency, my mindset was like, this is a company and it's going to be the company posting the company. And my profile photo was my logo.
Yep.
And then the content just wasn't working for me. And then I decided, you know what? I think I need to be present because Maxima is me. I am Maxima. We are one in the same. One just, one has a social security number, the other one has an EIN. Like it's but we are
Such a
basically
good
the same.
point.
Yeah, we are
Yeah.
one in the same.
Yeah.
And then I started like showing myself, and I think that's where like views and stuff started to really go up. And it was like you gotta put the person in the front, and,
Yeah.
and people like to see people and to know that there's a person behind that business that's just throwing out marketing tips and stuff. And it's like, no, there's a whole human
Mhm.
behind it, and here's her face and here's her voice and everything. So I'm very big on that, like just kind of showing up and being present as you.
Yeah. I love it because the business is separate from you. I've had to learn that too, right? Because we can
Mm-hmm.
get caught up in being the
Oh yeah.
business and then that
Right.
takes away from it too. So being
Sure.
able to separate it, but knowing that that also it's all
Hmm.
fun. I like to think of a figure eight instead of just a circle because we can kind of
Yeah, it was just
in and out, you know what I
hmm
mean, of that pipeline.
yeah.
And I think that's been a beautiful representation in how my business has grown
Hmm.
to be able to say, okay, like I'm gonna be me right now, and then I can pop
Hmm.
back in,
And
right?
yeah,
So
now I'm the business and then yeah. Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So it's been great, and I
Yeah.
can see that that's happening for you too, which is so good. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. One last thing before we wrap
Sure.
is I always like to ask this question and I never prepare anybody because I love it to be raw. But
Oh
if there
no.
is one, I know, I always make people nervous. If it's one thing, one phrase, one word, one thing you can leave the peeps with today, what would that be?
One phrase, one word.
Whatever it is
Oh,
that's on your
wow.
heart.
Whatever it is that's on my heart. Oh, what's on my heart right now is courage.
That's
Courage. And I leave, yeah, I want to leave everyone with that word because it means so many things. And it's something that you mean you have to have courage when you're starting a business, right? It takes a lot of courage to do that. And I think it also just takes a lot of courage to just show up in the world as you want the world to see you, right? You want to be what you want more of in the world. And I think that that takes so much courage to do. And so I leave you with that fantastic word.
that is good. Show up as the world, what the
Show
world
up in, yeah,
wants.
show up as what you want more of in the world. Yeah, yeah.
So good, my love. Well, we will mic drop it there because
Yeah, yeah, let's do
that's
that
all we
was
need.
good.
But thank you for sharing what you do with the people in my world. You know, these conversations that I like to have on the Alchemy Experience podcast is real and raw and opening up other people's stories, what got them to where they're at and what they're doing in this world to leave it a better place. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing yours. I can't wait to see how it
You.
continues to evolve because you have this whole beautiful life ahead of you. And
Oh.
I'm sure that it's just sky's the limit, right? So we'll end there, but thank you guys so much. Tune in next time. And as I always say, go set the world on fire. See ya. Thanks for tuning in to the Alchemy Experience. If this episode lit something up inside you, go ahead and share it with someone who's ready to rise too. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and connect with me online on all social media at The Alchemy Experience. Because transformation loves company, and together we all rise. And hey, don't just survive this week. Thrive like you frickin' mean it. Let's go let it up. Talk soon.